I'm Tiffany Scott and this is episode 2, how it all started. Unlike a lot of girls, I didn't dress from an early age, although I've always been interested in femininity and I've always loved hosiery and heels. I always remember watching The Graduate and that scene where Anne Bancroft, who plays Mrs. Robinson, is in the hotel room with Dustin Hoffman's character and she's putting on her stockings. When I saw that, I thought, oh, that's wild. But the trigger for me was watching somebody who I thought was a MILF wearing stockings and heels, and then suddenly realising she was a she-male. I'd never heard of she-males. Well, that's the internet for you. It was quite a weird feeling. It really stirred something inside of me. The funny thing was, I didn't want to make love to her. I wanted to be her. And that was the start of my journey. Within days, I'd shaved my legs, I bought a pair of heels, I bought my first pair of stockings, and then I dressed, but very poorly, for about a year. And then I was in a 10-year relationship. But all the time, the urge was with me, and I really just wanted to be me. So when that relationship ended, I made the decision I was going to be the person I really wanted to be. Once I'd made the decision, I then had to figure out how I was actually going to do it. I knew I needed some basic makeup skills. I definitely needed to improve that. I decided I needed to develop my own style. I needed to work on posture and my voice. I had a few outfits and about 6 pairs of heels. I bought a blonde wig, first of many, and I must say when you're developing your style you tend to have more misses than hits. I spent a lot of money on bad wigs. Eventually I found one which I wear today. It's a Raquel Welch Stop Traffic wig. Stop traffic, that's me. That's what I want to do. It seemed to suit my style and personality. So now what to do for the makeup? Luckily nowadays there's loads of stuff on YouTube. So I got searching. I found a series from a lady in America who was actually doing what they called cross-dresser makeup. It's on a bit of a drag queen, I think. And the video started from the very beginning. It started from even beard cover to foundation, working on your eyes. There must have been about 5 or 6 videos. And I watched those and I found them really helpful. I practiced at home and it gave me that basic blueprint to work from. I did a bit of research. One of the things that came out, foundation's one of the most important things and it's worth spending your money on that. You can get away with some cheap makeup but make sure you buy good foundation. I decided on MAC Studio Fix foundation. It seemed to work for me and I still use it now. It's good quality, it's not cheap. It's about £30 a bottle. But trust me, it's worth the money. It has good coverage and it's long lasting. There's nothing worse than being out and seeing a girl at the end of the night with her makeup slowly but surely disappearing. It doesn't look great. I had this basic look and I probably stuck with it for quite a while. And then I started looking at things like contouring. And there's absolutely loads of videos on YouTube. Once you've got your basic foundation, you can contour to give yourself different looks. You can use different eye makeup. You can work and achieve a few different looks from that basic setup, though I tend to stick with the same one. Some of the videos at contour are very much a drag look, and while I think they look great, they're not always appropriate for a night out. But Courtney Act, bless her, she does some tutorials and she's very pretty, and you can actually use that look as a normal look. If you're darker skinned and you've got a bit of a dark beard, you might need some sort of beard cover. But once you've got that base, you can do just any type of makeup. So you can look at videos by females for females, and quite often it's more of a natural look. Makeup's a work in progress, but when you improve it does really help. But remember, you can look amazing, but if you walk like a chimp, it's not a great look. That's a surefire way to spoil the illusion. So I started looking at things like posture, and I found a couple of articles on the internet that were really quite helpful. So when you walk in your heels, remember to keep your head up, your shoulders back and your legs straight. Don't bend your knees. And I think this is probably more important when you start to go out. So practice at home, put your heels on, sit up, head up, shoulders back, legs straight. And the more you practice, the more you'll get used to it. But remember, when you go out, it's a lot different when you walk on uneven pavements or even cobbles than it is walking on carpets at home. A good bit of advice I got in the early days was from a friend. And she said when you're out for a night out, if you go bare-legged and you wear open-toed sandals, your feet tend to stick to your shoes and they don't push forward. And you know what? The second time I went out I did that and it was a lot more comfortable. If you wear nylons your feet tend to slip, and also if you're wearing court shoes your toes will get pushed to the front and squashed, I remember a night out in Leeds. I was out on a Friday night and it was honestly 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. I could start to feel my toes again. If you're unsure and you're going out, wear flats or wear smaller heels or block heels. It's better than falling over. Having said that, the heels I wore for my first ever night out in Leeds were absolutely mad. I was on the cobbles, I was hanging onto walls and all sorts. But I loved them and I still wear them to this day. Sometimes you just have to suffer for your art. You can probably gather from the type of shoes I wear that I really wanted to be a girly girl. I love me clothes. I love fashion. When I first started, I had 2 wardrobes in the bedroom and it was his and hers. I put all my stuff in one of them and I was thrilled to bits. I had a wardrobe with all my dresses and stuff in. I actually thought I had quite a lot of clothes and I felt as if I was getting somewhere. But now, I have 2 wardrobes, hers and hers, and they're absolutely jam-packed. I've also got a set of drawers for all my bras and knickers. But these things develop. You don't do it in the first few weeks, but obviously you collect things over the years. I remember buying this big makeup case, a big metal box, and I put all my makeup in. I had about 6 or 7 items that were rattling about in there. But I loved it. I loved the idea of having a big makeup case. But honestly, it looked empty. But today, it's absolutely jam-packed. And to be honest, I don't use all of the stuff. I probably use the same things all the time. It's a girl thing. So the next thing I started to look at was my voice. I was unhappy about the way that I talked and came across to people. One of the mistakes a lot of girls make is that they tend to whisper, as if that's going to make them more feminine. But it doesn't help when you're at the bar trying to get served. Then I came across an article online and it really helped me. I'd looked at loads of stuff about voice, all these different exercises and things. And this one article basically said, imagine your voice is down there at the bottom of your tummy and then just lift it up about 2 or 3 spots. And that seemed to click with me. And my voice went from a deeper tone down here to where it is now. And it seems quite natural. So once I put all that together, it was time to go out. You don't look your best and sit at home on your own, do you? First I went to a club. Then I got a message from a guy who said, I understand you've been to this club and you wanted to go out. I'd like to help you. There's always a catch when I want to help you. So he took me out and we went into town and we actually went to a gay bar. It was very quiet. It was a Sunday night, but I loved it. And then I met some girls at the club and I went into town on a girls' night out. That was wild. We were sitting in a bar and this young lad came, stuck his head over my shoulder and said, we're on a stag do. Would you give the groom a lap dance? And I was like, no. But the real eye-opener for me was going to Leeds. Some of my friends had been to Leeds First Friday, which is a big trans event in Leeds, and I wanted to go. I took a friend with us, I rang her and said I booked it, we're going. And it was absolutely amazing, walking into the bar with that many other girls. To be fair, there was some prop forwards in dresses, there was some absolutely stunning girls. There was just a wide range of girls. And you just felt as if you fit in. And being out around town in all the normal bars with so many other girls felt so normal. I even had one young lad try and chat us up. I totally panicked, but never mind. So that was how I started. What about you? Anyway, that's the end of today's episode. I'll see you next week. Bye!